What's up guys, YST here and welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. And today, we've actually been given some news regarding a bunch of champions that will be rebalanced in an upcoming update. So keep an eye out for that. And we'll be breaking down all of the skill sets and what's changing and if they're good changes to these champions. As the first one on the list is actually a Pixniel, and we'll be seeing if it's actually a good buff here. But straight afterwards, we'll actually briefly talk about Cyber Week, how the Black Friday sales went over this weekend, and my kind of thought process on that. I've actually been really unwell over the past few days. I don't know if you guys can hear it in my voice, but obviously I'm feeling a little bit better now, so we're getting back to those videos. But alright, let's go straight into the first one. Hi Elves, we're going to go straight into Pixniel, a champion that's been so underwhelming since she's come out pretty much. So let's just break it down. So the change on Mistress of Glamours, which is the A1 ability, will now just place a perfect veil buff for one turn on the ally with the lowest HP. So I'm assuming there's no chance for it anymore. So before it was a 40-50% chance once booked. Okay, but now it just places a perfect veil for one turn. So that's actually a good change, and I like that on the A1 skill. So heading into the A3 skill with the Icicle Barrage, how it reads right now is attacks 5 times at random, and each hit has a 30% chance of placing a freeze debuff for one turn, and has a 100% chance of placing a freeze debuff on the enemy that receives 2 hits. So a lot of RNG aspect was going into this before, and now it's actually been changed to a damage increase, so better multipliers, and then attacks all enemies and has an 80% chance of placing a freeze debuff for one turn. I'm actually happy with this, guys, because if it's an 80% chance, let's just assume 100% chance once booked, that makes this so much more viable as a setup champion, being able to place that 100% freeze with a damage increase, which I'm excited to playtest. And I actually maxed up Pixniel to make a meme video, but she's actually turning into a pretty decent champion now, which I'll get a video out once these buffs come into play. On the Frostweaver, there's actually a change as well. So, alright, let me just read this out how it is first. So, whenever an enemy places a freeze debuff on an ally, has a 50% chance of stealing the freeze debuff and placing it on this champion instead. Who then has a 35% chance of filling the turn meter by 25% every time they receive a freeze debuff. Will then remove freeze debuffs from this champion at the start of every turn. Alright. So how it's going to be changed to is an active effect cooldown 5 turns to 2 turns. So the passive effect will be fills this champion's turn meter by 25% whenever an ally receives a freeze debuff. Whereas right here it's a buff chance. So it should just be happening now with that passive effect. And then the active effect, which is the bit at the top I assume, at the end of each enemy or ally's turn, removes all freeze debuffs from all allies on a 2-turn cooldown. So this will be bookable, and then the buff chances will be removed. So it'll still be needing 3 books for their passive, pretty much. So, yeah, that's actually pretty nice. So you definitely get the turn meter fill now. You don't have to rely on this. And then removes all freeze debuffs as an active effect on a 2-turn cooldown. Instead of that 50% chance of stealing the freeze. Do you know what? That's actually a pretty good change as well. I like that. Because you're getting to consistently cleanse them off, and I can imagine in Doom Tower, this is going to start to be a really fun CC champion for sure. Also, resist in arena battles has now been changed to 60 in all battles. So overall, Pixniel, does she get a plus from me? Yes. Well done, Plarium. I actually think this is really, really well done. We have a consistent freeze champion. We have turn meter fill all of the time, not relying on RNG. We have got stripping of the freeze debuffs from all allies. Really, really nice. At the end of each enemy or ally's turn. That's really strong, man. I like that. The A2 wasn't touched at all. I don't think this one really needed a change, if I'm honest. And then the A1 had just placing the perfect veil, and the damage increases the AoE 100% chance. Yeah, very, very good. It's kind of the stuff we've been asking for with Pixniel. Now, heading into another High Elves champion, we've actually got Bellenor. And this is a champion I don't have. I don't think I've ever even playtested him. But we'll see the changes here. So, Insummerable, what is that? Is that the A2? So right now, places a 60% drop defense and a weakened debuff for 2 turns on a target enemy, then attacks them. Then places a perfect veil buff on this champion for 2 turns. Okay. So the way that it's actually going to change to now is we'll do an AoE and places a 60% drop defense debuff and a 25% weaken for 2 turns. These debuffs cannot be resisted when Xavier is on the same team. Now, we'll also place a perfect veil buff on this champion for 2 turns. So that bit hasn't changed, but we now have an AoE that's non-resistible when paired with Xavier. And I think you're going to see a lot more Bellenor now, guys. Being a void champion, if you don't have, what's it called, a Lydia the Death Siren, you'll definitely be using a Bellenor. So very strong here. And Tactical Partner, what's that? So activates this champion's overkill skill. Okay, so instead of activating this one, it will actually activate his A3, which is overkill, which can attack one enemy and will... Wait, what's this? Will attack the enemy with the lowest HP with any surplus damage. If this attack kills an enemy, the surplus damage cannot be critical. You guys let me know, does this one have good damage multipliers? Because if so, that's very strong, I think. Better than a default skill anyway, right? So, alright, I think Bellenor had a bit of a nice buff there. Let's head into champion number 3, which will be Alika. Where is Alika? Is that Sacred Order, I believe, right? Alika. Oh, my brain is frazzled today, guys. I don't know what's going on. Barbarian? Are we here? Alika, where are you? There she is. My gosh, you guys are probably screaming at the screen. YST, she's right there. So what's changed with her? So Disorient is actually, right now it's doing a... Attacks all enemies has a 100% chance once booked of increasing the cooldowns of all enemy skills by 1 turn. And this will now be reducing the cooldowns by 2 turns. So that's pretty nice, right? Yeah, alright. So that's the only thing that's actually changed on the Alika. But for what the change is, 2 turns is definitely more impactful than a 1 turn, right? So I'm a huge fan of that. So the next buff is actually going to be happening to Crypt Witch. So I'm really interested to see what's going to happen now. So Dismantle, let's just read out how it is first. Attacks 2 times at random, has a 100% chance of placing a drop defense debuff for 2 turns. But now will attack 3 times at random. Okay. And each hit will have a 100% chance of placing that drop defense. Will ignore 15% of the target's defense per hit. Wow, okay. Now that's actually a pretty big buff here, guys, because being able to hit an extra time and also ignore a big chunk of defense in this ability is actually really, really solid. So I like that change on Dismantle. Actually, I kind of wish that... Actually, no, because if you're not doing an AoE drop defense, which I would like to see, a random ability for faction wars is actually pretty okay, so I'm fine with that. But then when you're facing a boss, of course, you're going to be hitting 3 times anyway on the same target. So not so fast with the passive, I believe. Right now it's attacking one enemy and ignoring 50% of the target's defense if the target is faster than this champion. And this was a huge pain, guys, and I'm sure many of you guys can like resonate with this. Because like having to build the champion so slow to be able to ignore defense was actually really tedious. But now will attack one enemy and ignores the defense, or 50%, sorry, if this champion's speed is higher than the target. So yeah, big change for Crypt Witch. We're attacking 3 times, we're ignoring more defense, we're now having to be faster than the champions, which is really strong against waves, as long as you build it correct. And I'm actually happy with all of the changes in this rebalance. I really am. I feel like none of them got like underwhelming buffs, I'd say. Maybe a little bit on Alika, just the overkill skill increasing the cooldowns by 2 turns. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm actually happy with these buffs. And they're actually focusing on some ones that's actually not used for a change. So, yeah. Pretty good from here. Now, let's have a look at some other stuff. So, Cyber Week. What's going on? I've been out of the loop. As I said, guys, I don't know what's been happening to me over this weekend. I've been a shambles. So, we've actually got... I remember some people talking to me about a guaranteed 20 Sacreds or something. Where is it? Elva Autumn Born on Tuesday, so tomorrow. 20 Sacred Shards. My gosh, guys, Before, I believe it was 15, maybe 12 or 13 for Cecilia Flametongue. That's kind of like where they were sitting for a good while. But 20 Sacred Shards for an Elva. Now guys, Elva's a really strong champion, probably the best one from Sylvan Watchers. So that's not kind of what I'm saying here, but 20 Sacreds, just because players have been waiting longer, that's like throwing another $50 to $100 at players, pretty much. Like if you talk about an average pack from Raid for a Sacred Shard, let's have a look. I usually see about what, 20 bucks, 25 bucks for a Sacred Shard, something like that. Unless you have like, I don't know, man. Very expensive. Very, very expensive. 20 Sacreds. Damn. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about that, because I think that's pretty terrible. And if you think about the future of Raid, if they're pushing the limits by 5 Sacreds, I'm scared to see if like another crazy champion comes out, if they're going to go 25 or 30. And it makes it hard to kind of judge how many should we save up, in a sense. Like, if we tell all the player base, oh, let's just save up 15 Sacreds, make sure you keep that amount, and now they throw 20 at us, do we now have to start preparing 25 Sacreds, just in case? You know what I mean? But if you guys have been saving up, yes, of course, get your Elva Autumnborn, she's a really strong champion. Is she worth 20 Sacreds? Yes, I think so. But that kind of defeats the point of it. She should still be at that 15 threshold. What else we got? We got a Mortimer Cab and Hefrax 10x event today. Alright. Both really solid champions. Mortimer Cab is solid. Hefrak, one of the best nukers in the game. And then coinciding will be a 10x from Acrizia with Void Shards. It just doesn't make any sense because there's nothing else going on. Like, you're better off saving up your shards from now for the Christmas fusion, which should be starting in a few weeks, right? If I'm not mistaken. So, yeah. I'd be avoiding this, maybe doing a guaranteed event if you got the shards. Unless you know you're on Mercy system and you really want a Hefrak or a Acrizia. We just had 2x, man. This is nuts. And there's a champion training to get a Bad Elkazar or a Dirindil based on your player level. What's this? £13 for a Trunda skin. I actually did get a Trunda on Friday, by the way, which was pretty cool. Who's Dirindil? Is he from... I don't even know who Dirindil is. Is it Demon Spawn? Dark Elf. There he is. So attacks one enemy 2 times each. It has a 20% chance of placing a freeze. AoE would ignore defense of 15%. Alright, so he's a meh epic champion. But he's got a nice little ignore defense on the A3 of Royal Assassin. But I wouldn't say he's meh, he's decent. The only thing is like, do you have the resources to do a champion training event right now to get one of these dudes, right? Let's see the points here. I know this guy's on 3.6k already. See the global leaderboard. Wow, 43,000. Damn. I don't know if to recommend that, guys, because I strongly believe that, well, we will 100% have a Christmas fusion in the near future, and I don't want you to waste all of your resources, especially if you did the Huskarl fusion, on doing these random events. Like, you're better off saving up your shards. There should be some Christmas events coming up very soon, and save your money, man. Seriously. Anything else I wanted to talk about? I don't know, I'm just rambling at this point. I hope everybody had a great 2x. Let me know what kind of champions you got, I guess. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one, and peace.